Hi, this is Tanya Sheridan from inallsassiness.com, and today I'm going to show you how to create this beautiful, fun, whimsical layout using Close to My Heart's new Star and Sparkles collection. So I wanted to point out a few details, and then I'm actually going to take you step by step through the creating process. So you'll notice that over here I do have a flip flap laid on top. I don't have it in the page protector because it does reflect on the screen, and so I have it, I'm just kind of sitting there now, but you would put your layout into protector and then it flips up and you have the photos underneath. You of course don't have to do this, but I loved the kind of cascading effect of the fireworks and so forth. So that is how I created that, and I will talk you through that. You'll also notice that there's some depth here on this star. The star is popped up, which then in turn pops a lot of other things up. So you will want to make sure you have some foam tape. Over here you're going to see this lovely fun truck, and then this also is a flip flap that you can pop up if you desire. It's totally optional. Some people like more photographs on the front. Again, totally optional, but I loved this particular Picture My Life card, and so I'm going to show you a little bit about that. You'll notice the cascading stars up here, as well as some fun little things, little details that we're going to walk through. So let's get started. If you are using one of my kits, you're going to want to pull out your kits. You're also going to need some of the Picture My Life cards that are included in your workshop kit. We are going to use the one with the fireworks, which is a 4x6. We're going to use the one with these three little banners and pennants. We're going to use one with the blue truck with the fireworks, and then this one that says ooh la or ooh ah. Okay, so those are the 4 Picture My Life cards that you're going to want to pull out of your kit. And with your kit, now this kit comes as 2 kits, so they come together, but the stickers are actually in the other layout bag, so you'll want to grab that. This is the full sheet of the stickers, and then you'll have other elements. So you'll have your white piece, you'll have your star. There are 2 photographs in your kit, one with the flip flaps open so you could see how that design is, and one with those closed. So I would keep those for a point of reference. You're going to have your strips of pattern paper. Your title, if you would like to use this title, is all smiles. It's all in one little bag for you. All of your pennants are together. And then I've already cut my photo mats, and I will walk you through that. You'll see a flip flap in there, and then your bases. So those are the things that should be included in your kit. If you're missing a piece, let me know. Just send me an email, or if you tear a piece or cut a piece wrong, you can let me know as well, and I will get that out to you. So we're going to build this piece first, the left layout, and I'm going to go ahead and move that flip flap. I'm going to be working over on this side so that you can follow along and see where we've gotten. Now your kit has a full piece of the Bluebird cardstock. That is for you to cut your photo mats from. I started doing that about a year ago, and I'm finding that my customers like that much better in case they want to change the sizes. But I went ahead and cut mine. I did a 4 1/4 by 6 1/4. I have 3 mats that are 3 1/4 by 4 1/4, and then I have one that is 2 1/4 by 2 1/4. So I'm going to set those up or off to the side for right now, but those are the measurements that I used. And then I'm just going to move everything off to the side, and we're going to start at the very beginning. The first piece that you're going to want is this piece here. There are 2 of them, okay? So those are 2 inches by 12 inches, and most of them are going to be cut pretty close to the same space, but you can see whichever one that you like the best. I am going to slide my cardstock down so that I can use my Versamat for measurements, and I actually just noticed that I have them going, yes, I have them going the right way. Okay, so I want mine to go across here, and so I'm going to do it between 4 and 6 inches. So I'm just going to put my adhesive. I use a lot of adhesive. You don't have to use as much as I do, but That is just me and my style. And I'm going to line it up right between that 4 and that 6 mark. And then I'm going to take it over to the other side and line it up as well, okay? Now, one thing I did not mention is I am using the dark side of the Carolina paper. You can see the difference up here, down here a little bit. You can use whichever side you want. I just thought that the dark side worked better for this project, okay? So then the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to build this section down here before we put our star on. So I am just going to simply spread out all of my little pieces. There's no right or wrong. You can do whatever order that you want, but I'm going to show you the order that I chose, and then if you want to change it, you of course can change it. The other thing that you are going to want is this Picture My Life card, and you're going to notice that one way goes horizontal and one way goes vertical. So if you hold it up to the light, you will notice that it comes about right there. So you can actually cut both of those pieces out and use both of them. A lot of times you can't do that because if you cut it one way or use it one way, then it interrupts the pattern on the back or on the opposite side. This one, luckily for us, allows you to use both elements if you desire. So I am just going to freehand this one. This one is the only one of the regular pennants that I'm going to pop up on foam. So we're just going to cut this guy out like that. I'm going to do the same for this one as well. And just cut out all the little points. Now, if you notice that the card has this little circle at the top, we're actually going to cut that off. And for that, because I don't have a steady line, I am going to use my paper trimmer. So I'm going to bring that under the camera. And nothing is wet yet. So I basically just pulled it up to this one, I guess it's a 1/2 inch mark. And just cut that circle off of both of those pieces. And I just discarded it. Might be able to use it for something else if you would like. Okay. So now we're going to go ahead. Before we start gluing those down, I'm just going to prep these 2 pieces. I'm going to flip them over and add the foam tape. Now, I tend to use a lot of foam tape. You, of course, don't have to use that much. But I like mine to be sturdy. And for a bigger size project, I tend to use the wider of the tapes. Our tape comes in 2 rolls. It comes like this. So this is the thin tape. It also comes in a regular tape, but each, whether it's thin or regular, has a wide and a narrow. So I am using the wide because it's a bigger space to fill. And even though we're not doing the right page right this second, I'm going to go ahead and prep both of these at the same time. So that's one less thing that I have to do when we move on to that page. And if you cut it too far, you can just snip it. That's what I usually do. And actually, I tend to, if I cut too much, just stick it on the side of my Versamat, and I will use it later on in the project. Okay, so that piece is done. So we are going to start right on the edge, and I'm just going to go ahead and follow this pattern. So we are going to do this little blue piece first. Now, there is a tiny margin in between each of our pennants. And actually, I'm going to go back one step and grab my Picture My Life card because I forgot about one. So give me just a 1/2 second. There. We need this piece here. So that is one of the Picture My Life cards. It looks like this on one side and that on one side. You could use either side that you want. I just used the one that I liked. And what I did was I basically just took one of the other pennants and freehanded it and just cut down to get the width. I'm just making my own stencil. Okay, and then I'm just cutting off a little bit because I want it shorter. And then to cut the pennant, you're going to cut to the center however deep you want it. And then you cut from one edge to the center and then the other edge to the center, just like that. And it doesn't have to be perfect. It can be narrow, it can be long, however you want it to be. Perfect, just like that, okay? All right, so we're gonna set those up in our little pile. So the next one that we're gonna do is a white, and this is the shorter of the white. And again, I'm leaving just a little bit of a margin in between. Then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna position this here. This is the one that we just cut, okay? But then I'm gonna come back with the shorter of the dark blue, which is the sapphire. And I'm actually gonna put my sapphire down first. I was just using this as a positioning. Okay, so that's gonna come down. Let's see if I can straighten that out. There we go. And then I'm gonna put this one that we cut from the PML card on top. It's overlapping the white a little bit and overlapping the blue a little bit. Okay, so then the next one we're gonna do is a red, and the red comes in two sizes. So this is the shorter of the red. If it matters, again, your sequins can be different than mine. It's not a big deal. Okay, then we're gonna do a long white. And for these, I'm just coming right down the center with my adhesive. I'm not trying to get every little tip. If the tips do, you know, pull up, because it's under a page protector, you can just go like that and just catch it. Okay, so now we're gonna go back to the blue pattern. I'm gonna put the blue pattern down next. And then we're gonna move, whoops, to the red. Put the red down. This is actually a cut from our new Cricut collection that comes with this pattern paper, or that complements this pattern paper. So those are $9.95. You can purchase those on my affiliate link. So to find that, you would go to the very bottom of my Close to My Heart site, which is tanyasheridan.ctmh.com. You'll see the little Cricut bug. Click on that link and it'll bring up this specialty Cricut collection. So they are only available through Close to My Heart makers or consultants for the first year, and then they are open to order through Cricut. But they're absolutely awesome because these new Cricut collections, they're, like I said, they're $9.95, and they give you the option of expanding your paper collection. So if you like the truck, there's a truck on there, and you can cut it out, or if you need a sentiment or what have you. Now, I have gone all the way across, but this pennant is a little bit too long. So I'm going to pull it back off, and I am going to freehand and just trim it down on each side. And that's probably just because I left more space than I did on my original. That way it's a little bit more centered. It's still gonna go off the page, which I'm totally fine with, but it looks a little bit more centered, okay? So now I'm gonna move all these extra pennants up to the top, and this one little piece that you don't wanna lose. I'm gonna flip my layout over, and I'm gonna trim off any excess that I have, just so that I don't accidentally measure or center wrong based on the exceeding space. Okay, so that's what we are at. That's where we are at this point, okay? So then the next thing that you're gonna do is you're gonna go into your kit and you're gonna pull out this really cool star. And you're gonna take your piercing tool and go through and make sure all the little dots have popped out. Mine, I actually did that beforehand, but you might have a few that didn't pop out when it cut on the Cricut, and that's fine. Then you're gonna wanna find whichever way you want your star to go. Okay, it is gonna dip down here into this white one. So whichever, I mean, the majority of it's gonna be covered. I think I want mine to go this way, and so forth, but wherever you want it to go. Now, if you prefer this side, you could certainly do this side as instead. Let me show you what that would look like. It just gives you a little bit of a different perspective, but I really liked the Celebrate words. Okay, so we are gonna take the foam tape, and I wanna make sure, I'm gonna come here so I can zoom in. I wanna make sure that I don't cover any of those dots with my foam tape, because if I do, then that of course is going to show through to the other side, and we don't want that to happen. So I'm just gonna rotate my star each time. Again, you don't have to use as much tape if you don't want to, but you don't want it to dip and bow. So you want to keep that in mind too. But I'm just coming around all the way across like that. I would love to know in the comments if you have ideas for what you're going to use this layout for. Hopefully we can have 4th of July celebrations this year. But you know, I like getting sparklers and just having fun. It doesn't have to necessarily be 4th of July for me. And of course, it could be a birthday. It doesn't even have to be anything patriotic. I feel like every celebration this year is gonna be a huge one since we didn't get to celebrate it last year, right? We have a dog, so we don't tend to do too many fireworks at our house because she gets really spooked by it. Okay. So I am just going on the inside. Now, when I go to attach this, you'll notice that I have used a lot of foam tape. You don't have to pull off all of the film unless that's something that you want to. It is gonna stick down, but it's more for, you know, an even platform type of thing. So I am gonna go ahead and pull off all of the edge ones and then a couple in the center. And the edge ones, of course, were my thick. Now, ideally, I would probably use the thick or the wide all the way around, but it just so happened that I ran out of that roll and I have lots of the narrow, so I am just making an adjustment. So I'm only gonna pull these 2 main ones. Whoops, I didn't go on this edge. So let's go down on this edge. And we will put our star down. Now, again, it's totally up to you. And of course, now I've forgotten how I wanted mine. I think kind of like this. You wanna make sure that this is straight. And it's gonna come down right about, this edge goes straight. And right about there. You can judge, make sure you don't go up too high, because if you go up too high, you're gonna go off your base. That's what I did the first time. Okay, so this is all good. So then the next thing that you're gonna wanna do is pull out this piece of paper, and this is gonna have to be on foam a couple of spaces, but for the most part, it is going to rely on the foam here. So we wanna do our foam across the top. And for that, I'm just gonna go ahead and use my narrow because it's really not that big of a space. And what I did from that point is I went ahead and attached it and then came down to the bottom and finagled where I needed it. So I just did a little bit of adhesive across. It's sticky at the top. I do want it to be straight, relatively speaking, as far as this edge up there. And I'm gonna let it fall and then just kind of tweak it before I press down. And then what I did was I lifted it up down at the bottom so that I could judge, because there's only a little bit of space where it's not popped up. And so I just lifted it there like this, put the foam tape underneath, make sure that it's covered, and stick it there. And then otherwise it's all good, okay? So then the next thing that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and put down my photo mats on this page. And I'm gonna do the same thing. So I'm choosing to use the 4 1/4 by 6 1/4 and the 2 1/4 squared, okay? I'm gonna slide this table over just a little bit. So we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna flip this mat, put adhesive, tape runner adhesive on one side, and then come down the other side with their foam tape because it's already supported with our star. So I'm gonna cut my tape, put it on this edge, and then just kind of wiggle and see how much space that you need, how far you want to come in. Mine is gonna be about 1/2 of an inch is where I want it to be, and I'm going to line it up with 4 3/4, about, give or take. And then your photo, oops, crooked on my mat there. Your photo is going to go right on top, okay? Now, this one here is not popped up. So we're going to attach our adhesive, and it is going to line up with this photo here at the top, but it's not popped up on foam. You can see how my piece is sinking here. That is because the star didn't go into that space. So I'm simply going to lift this up. That is one of the cool things about the Close to My Heart adhesive, is that it goes down repositionable and then it finishes flat, or finishes permanent after a little bit of time. I'm going to do the same thing down here. I'm going to just lift it up carefully, put my foam right around the edge of that star, and then pull the film. Okay, so that's where we have there. Okay, so the next thing that we're gonna do is we are going to pull out our sticker sheet. Home Sweet Home is at the bottom, so I'm gonna pull this firework, which is the big one. I'm gonna flip it over. It's this one right here, and set it down. And then I'm gonna pull this one up here that's at the top, flip that over, and there is this firework here that we're gonna pull off there first. So we're gonna do these first and then we'll come back. So this little guy is just kind of stuck, just kind of coming out from underneath that photo mat. The blue firework is gonna go up on foam tape. So you can put your foam tape there. Now, before I pull the film off, I am going to use my powder. And I'm not even taking it, if you notice, I'm not even taking it out of the container. I'm gonna dust it off, and then there's no sticky left, or very little sticky left, so that the sticker doesn't flatten. And I want this to kind of go about right there. Okay, and then for this one, I'm actually gonna do it double. So I'm gonna cut it once, put it across. I'm gonna do it again. I'm gonna pull this film and discard it. And then I'm gonna put another layer, or you could use the regular tape. I just don't have any on hand because I want this firework to be higher than the other one. And again, I'm gonna take it to my powder pouch, just like that. Anti-static pouch is what it's technically called if you're looking for it online. I keep mine in the craft jar so that it doesn't get all over my stuff. And this one I'm going to overlap a little bit so that it's a little bit higher. Okay, so then what we're going to do is we're going to come down over here, and I want this star that is beside the truck. I want this little one that's under Oh Happy Day, and I want one of the red ones. So I tend to just put it on my hand. I know I want this one to go about there. So I'm going to put the other two flat. So I want the tip of this one to cross over just a little bit. I'm going to put foam tape underneath, and we're going to do the same thing that we did before, where I'm just going to take the sticker to the pouch, dust it off, and pull off the film. And that really helps when you're doing scrapbooks more so than cards, because it's flattened in the book and you don't want it to come down. Okay, so that is all for that one. Then we want this Love This Land, which is above this blue part. Now there's other sentiments that you could use if you wanted to. I just thought this one was kind of cool, and the color matched. I'm going to put foam tape under the bottom of that, and then again do the powder thing. And this is going to overlap the white and the blue, but still lining up at the top. So if you don't get it perfect, it's okay, but it just overlaps just like that. Okay, so now what we need to do is we need to come up to the top, and we are going to do these tiny little stars. And so you can do whichever ones that you want. There is a bigger blue, a bigger little blue up here by the firework. So I used that one. And then there is a bigger red. So that one is over here. I put that one up there. And then I used all these little baby ones. So again, you can do whichever ones that you want. They actually look bigger because of the bleed through on the mat, but whichever ones that you like. And I just kind of did it in a cascading flow so that it kind of shoots upward. And I'll move it down so that you can see that a little bit better. But you can see how it just kind of cascades and it gets narrower as it goes up, okay? So we have the blue. So let's see, I have white, blue, I have the dark blue, the red, the bigger blue, and then one more white. Again, you can do however many you want, but that's what I chose to do. Okay, so then the next thing before we move on to the second page, of course, these are your photos, is I used the diamond stickles, and I absolutely love this. I think it is a fabulous product, and I am going to go in around my fireworks and just do little dabs. And it's going to kind of create a mound with your glue, but then it will settle and dry a little bit flatter. And I just kind of want to go around and pull that cascading, pull it all together is what I'm trying to do. I'm going to do one dot at the top. Okay, so then I'm going to go ahead and put a dot in the center of each of my two fireworks. Okay, and I'm going to come down and do accents down here. So I'm going to do a row of 3 to the right of this Love This Land. I'm going to do a row of 3 on the white to the left of the Love This Land. And if they're too small, you can just add an extra dot. I'm going to do it again on this blue one, which is under the star. So we're going to do 3 there. And then 3 on this white. Like that. And then I'm going to do 3 up here. Right there. And 3 over here. You kind of have to be careful not to hit your wrist in the other spots. And I think that that was all of the ones that I did. The last one that I did was in the dot of the smiles, but I'm actually going to be giving away this layout. So I'm not going to put my title on this layout in case the recipient wants a different one. But you can see, and I will lift this up so you can see it under the close-up. Oops, there's a little scrap. I used a dot for the smiles. When I cut out titles for the Cricut, those dots for those eyes are so challenging. So I thought that that would be a good way to do that. Okay, so other than that, this side of the layout is done. So I'm gonna move that out of the camera view so that it can dry. And we're gonna pull out the second page. Again, you've got your stickers. And you have your base. Oops, this is the base. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and set that one down. And we are going to start this one just like we started the other one. So we're going to take that 2-inch strip and we're going to glue it down. I'm going to line up my Versamat. I never used to use my Versamat at all for building a layout until we went virtual with Close to My Heart after COVID. And I learned this great tip from one of the instructors. And I think it's fabulous because then you can use your measurement. Then I only used one and they started using 2. And I just found, wow, that's so much easier if you're doing lots of different things. Okay. So for this one, I'm going to go ahead and do it a little bit differently. I'm going to go ahead and do my mats just to get those out of the way because they kind of make a difference when we're adhering our truck. That one clearly was not very straight, but that's okay. So I'm going to do 4 pieces. Now this is going to be about 1/4 to 1/2 of an inch from the left border. And using my mat, I can see it's about 5. Let's see. My mats are not lined up with numbers here. Okay, it's about 4 3/4 is where we're going to start. So I'm going to do the one and then do my other 2. And we will go back. I did not forget the flip flap, but we will do the flip flap at the very end for the other side because I think that's a really cool technique to show you. My children have gotten a hold of my scissors. By children, I mean teenagers, and using them on things that they're not supposed to, and they're not. I need to go back and clean them. So again, I'm trying to give mine support. About 4 pieces is what I usually do for a photo mat. I like using the foam tape for my photos because you can pop them up. And it just gives a little bit more depth and makes the photos stand out from the background more. Okay, so we're gonna pull this off. And again, you can use whatever size that you want. I really liked the Flow. 3x4s are one of my favorite sizes to use if I have a lot of pictures. And I'm a vertical girl. I do a lot of photographs vertical. It always makes me laugh when I volunteer to take a picture for someone or they ask me to take a picture with their camera. I always take it both ways, and you can tell who the scrapbookers are and who aren't because they look at you weird. Okay, this little piece here, it's pre-cut for you. It's about 1.5 inches. That is part of the zip strip, which are those little pieces that come off the top. That is going to tuck underneath partially and go flat. Just like this. It's kind of hard to see if it's straight or not because of the angle, but it's all good. Okay, so we're gonna come back to our stickers and we're gonna use the brown star. We're gonna pop that up on foam. And do the powder again. Move the stickers out of your way, sorry. And this is going to be over the second photo mat, so just about there is where that one's going to be. And then there is a white star that I think I free-handed, so we will just leave that one for now. And then there is this star. So this one is one I cut out of the pattern paper. If you choose to do that, you can do that. I just cut it out of a piece of this paper because this was my one I wanted to use and mine had torn. So I'm going to use the correct one this time, but know that there's always options to do different things if you need to. I'm just going to put this one right up here. If you have a scrap of white, you can do that little guy, or you can do any of the other ones on here. I'm actually going to use this one because I really like this one. And it just gives a different effect. And then you're going to surround the cluster with the rest of those little stars. So there are more right over here in this blue section. You can use those. And again, however you want to do it. I felt it was important to add the red ones because I felt like those added some extra color. They're a little hard to see on some of these sticker sheets because of the overflow. Let's see, let's do that one there. And then there is a white one over the wreath that would go down here. Okay, so we have that done. Okay, so the next thing we're gonna do is we are going to build this section down here. So we're gonna go ahead and pull these guys back up so we can see them all. We're gonna again start with the blue pattern, the light blue pattern. And it's going to go right on that edge. So on the very edge, just like that. Then we're going to use a short white. And then along of the bright blue, which is our bluebird, which is quickly becoming my favorite blue. It was Carolina for a long time, but now I've really gotten into liking that one. This is the little plaid one that we cut from the Picture My Life card. And you could use the other side if you want, if you like the lighter color. This is going to be the shorter of the sapphire. And with these pennants, if you want a little bit more change, you could certainly use the light side of the cardstock or the pattern paper, either one. And that would work really well to give you even more variety. We're going to do the short white one, because there's only 2 white ones left, right? And then a long red one, which I think we only have longs left. Oops, so we can get it started. When your tape runners get towards the end, they struggle a little bit more. Okay, then we're going to go back to this one, which is the blue, the light blue pattern. And then we're going to do a white. And the Cricut actually cut all of these pennants. I used the collection that they have. I did tweak the colors a little bit to match what I wanted to do, which is always good, but it's nice that they cut all those for you. Okay, so with this one, we did the white. I stopped at the white. I'm gonna go backwards now, and I'm gonna put the red long one on the end, and I'm gonna work this way. So then I'm gonna do the blue, which is the sapphire blue, like that. And then I'm gonna come back and do my pennant. Or my pennant cluster. And you'll remember that this was the one that was the Picture My Life, right? Okay, so then I'm going to center this so that it's overlapping the white a little bit because I like the character of it not being even, just like that. Now, I'm going to come back and take the fireworks and the sparkle. And you can, again, use whichever ones that you want, but those are the two that I chose to use. And I'm going to do the, oops, I'm going to pop those up on foam. Sorry. So for this, I'm using the narrow. And I got it, you can see I got it a little bit too close. So I'm just going to pull it back and cut it. I'm going to powder it. And the fireworks is going to go over here between the red and the blue, but the tip is still in line at the top. And then the sparkle is going to go between the white and that light pattern Carolina. We're going to powder that one. And you want to make sure you can see a little bit of that white because we're going to put dots there in a second. Okay, so now we get to the truck, which is so totally cool. And I made it easy. If you notice, it's you know, has a white background, which is great. You could use the truck, the smaller truck, if you wanted to use a smaller truck and you wanted it vertical, but I really like this truck. He is so trendy right now. So I am just gonna simply cut it out. And when I'm cutting it, if you can see, I'm leaving a little bit of that white border. That means that I don't have to make it look perfect, which is awesome because my hands are not nearly as steady as they used to be. And I like not having to make it perfect. And you can cut in as detailed as you want. With the fireworks, you'll notice that I just kind of went around the outside. I didn't cut super intricate, but I did cut in a little bit. Sometimes it's easier to cut off the excess and then move along, at least for me, because I don't have as much kind of hanging out there. I'm going to do the curvature of this pinwheel a little bit. I love the pinwheels. They're so much fun. My kids have, the elementary school that they went to used to do pinwheels in the spring out in front of the school. I can't remember what it was for, but they always look so pretty. Okay, so here again, I'm going to cut off the excess just because it makes it so much easier to maneuver. If your edges are too sharp, like around the pinwheel, you could soften it up by rounding them a little bit. I did that one on my original one because from just hand cutting, they tended to be really sharp. Okay, so I'm going to come down the side. Again, I'm leaving a little bit of white. And I'm going to cut off that excess. And if you don't want to leave the white border, you could totally cut it out evenly. My concern with doing that for my own layout was I couldn't get up into all of these pinwheels and there was still going to be white in between the pinwheels. So that's why I chose to do it this way, but you could do it however it suits your fancy. Okay, so then I'm going to look at it, kind of look back to see if there's any spot that I wanted to round a little bit more. And I'm going to pop the entire truck up on foam, okay? So for this one, again, I would use the wide tape just because I think it's better for a bigger space. And I can do, you know, however many pieces. I just think this truck is so awesome. And we're going to make it even more awesome in a second. Okay. I usually double check. I thought that I came in too close there. If I came in too close, then I cut my foam. Okay, so with the truck, I'm going to show you a trick. when we're putting it on, we don't have our photos, right? So I don't want to take the foam tape off the top. I'm just gonna take it off the bottom, and that way I can add a little bit later my photographs and just lift it up just a little bit. And I have it positioned about right there. Okay, now I put foam behind the fireworks on purpose, even though this is up on foam. That just makes them pop a little bit more, and it comes a little bit more 3D. Okay, so then the next thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna come and we're gonna use our stickles, and we're gonna do 3 dots on this first blue one. Okay, we're gonna do 3 dots between the word sparkle and this pattern here, and then we're going to do 3 dots on the right of the word fireworks. Okay, then what we're going to do is we're going to go into the pinwheels, and we're going to do 1 dot in the center of each of the pinwheels and the stars, just like that. Okay, and then up here we're going to do the same cascading thing that we did on the other page. And you could do it however much you want, but I just wanted mine to kind of look cascading. Okay, so that is all that we are going to do with the stickles. Then the last step, and we're going to do it on both pages before that flip flap, is I'm going to come in with my shimmer brush. And this is the clear shimmer brush. It says so there on the lid. This is something new that Close to My Heart has started doing, and they've added the color on it. And so I am going to trace or just fill in the center of the wheels. I'm going to do anything that is silver. So the bumper, I also did the light. I know it's not silver, but I did these little accents. The back bumper, and then I am going to do the center of the window so that it looks like it's glass with a reflection, just like that. And if you miss a spot, you can go in and fill it in. Now, if you're using the clear shimmer brush and you're doing too much at one time, then what's going to happen is it's going to look more silver. So you want to let it dry a little bit and then go back over it. And then I'm also going to come in and do a couple of the little stripes. Hopefully you can see that on the fireworks, just to add a little bit more jazz and sparkle to that one. Okay. And you can outline your stars if you want to do that. You can do the little doodles, like here on this page, there's a doodle. Anything that you want, just to add a little bit more of a wow factor. Then once this is dry, this page will go on a page protector. And then if you wanted to add this, you could add this PML card in a flip flap to the top of the page protector. Okay, so I am going to move this one aside. I'm going to bring back the first page and do the shimmer brush on this one. So with this one, what I did, and actually I'm going to slide this one totally out of the way so you can see it under the close-up. I took the shimmer brush, and I'm not coloring in the firework. I'm just going 1 stroke across each flare or each petal. And it really, really pops. So 1 against each, and then again I came in on my firework here. Okay, so then what we're going to do is we're going to set this aside over here, and we're going to pull out our Picture My Life card. Okay, so this one I am going to go ahead and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to come in each little explosion or flourish or whatever you want to call it, burst, and do it with the pen. If the pen seems like it's getting dry, then just take it off to the side and squeeze it a little bit, and it'll get the shimmer brush coming down the channel again. So I'm gonna do all of the fireworks, and then I'm also gonna do the stitched one. And that one is just kind of going across the stitching, I guess would be the best way to describe it. And go all the way around. I'm gonna turn my card just because it makes it easier for me. I think I missed this one. So you go all the way around. Just like that. And each time we're rotating. Now this one's not gonna dry in time to put it in the flip flap, but I am gonna show you what I did with the flip flap in just a second. Okay, so now that one is done, I really like that stickle. So I'm gonna come back with the stickle again, and I'm gonna put it in the center. Now it's gonna dry clear, so it's gonna allow that color of that center to pop, which I think is also awesome. Okay, so I'm gonna slide this up here. Then what you're gonna do is you're gonna pull out your sticker sheet and your flip flap, your 4x6 flip flap. And we're gonna fold this under so that the rough side goes to the bottom. And we're gonna pull this big sticker here off. Now, because this is wet, I don't want to mess with this one right now. So I'm gonna use my previous one and just line up my flip flap. You would slide this Picture My Life card into the flip flap after it's dry. And then you're gonna take the big firework and you're gonna position it about there. Okay, and you're gonna stick it directly to the flip flap. Now, if you want, you could use red line tape. That'll even be sturdier, but you don't have to. And then on the back, you can either do one of two options. You can use the powder, which is what I'm gonna do here to show you how to do this one. Make sure you get really good coverage. For this, it might be better to take the powder out and do it that way. I always take it off and blow on it. Or you can put another piece of white cardstock that you have on hand on the back of the sticker and then cut it out. To me, this way is a lot easier. It's not sticky anymore. It's not going to be dusty on your fingers, so it's not like it's gross or anything. But that works as well. So then we're going to flip our flip flap back over. And we're going to do the stickles in the center. I kind of used the tip to spread it because it was bigger than the other one. And then we're going to use our shimmer brush and come down again. Each of those petals, as well as my shimmer brush needs a refreshing. So I'm going to do it off on the side. We're going to do each of those petals and then the stitching. Now, I did not do anything with the star. I left the star completely alone. Okay, so then you're going to let that dry. Once it's dry, you're going to slide this Picture My Life card down in here, and then you will attach it. Let me slide this off here to your page protector. So I know that I don't have mine in my page protector. Again, that's because of reflection. But you'll slide your page into your page protector. You'll take this film off the back, pull that off, and attach it to the page protector. So then it looks like these fireworks are cascading, and you'll be able to open it and have 2 4x6 photos. So I hope this helped you create this layout. If you have any questions, you can email me at inallsassiness@gmail.com. And I hope you have a great day. Make it sassy.